Coming up on the Angus Report, Allflex announces a new ear tag that could change how you manage your herd.
Tariffs are hot in the news. We dive into what they are and how they affect the beef industry.
Hear from an industry expert on how embryonic testing could save producers money.
Then we check out some highlights from the lead conference. This is the Angus Report. Welcome to the Angus Report. I'm Bob Cervera.
And I'm Clint Mefford.
This week, we're talking about industry innovations. Allflex USA recently launched a new ear tag that could transform the way cattle producers manage their herds. The new beef monitoring product launch was in July in Bruning, Nebraska. The event highlighted the tag and software, which helps with real-time estrus detection, rumination, heat stress, and more. Brent Krusher, a dairy business product manager for Allflex, tells us how the new technology works.
We have two forms for monitoring on livestock. We have an ear tag and we have a neck collar. The ear tag has particular interest, of course, to beef producers because it's not a collar, it's an ear tag. Allflex has clearly a tremendous history in ear tag development, and so the sense time tag monitors motion and then converts motion to information. So I always tell people data is 0418. Information is, that's my wife's birthday. They're very, very different things. So the tag collects data, and then the magic is in our ability to look and say, this animal is moving this way, and this means she's in estrus. It means she's not in estrus. It means she's in distress. It means she's not feeling well. And we do that all by interpreting all the behavior that we record on animals all the time. Livestock monitoring is a way for us to help producers understand exactly what's happening with individual animals with more clarity and faster than they ever could with visual observation.
Sam Shaw, an Idaho beef cattle producer, shares how the tag helps his operation.
To me, it's a Fitbit. You wear one at home, I wear one. We monitor our motions, our steps, and our activity. That's what I tell all our friends. It's a Fitbit in the ear. We found it as a great way to help us get our cattle bred up better. As far as heat detecting, we use this system to help us in 3 different areas, as far as heat detecting being one, managing our labor and our workforce being the 2, and then also the health aspect of it has been very intriguing. The added value is getting that early AI pregnancy for us, or that ET calf and that recip. So anytime that we can increase our conception rate or get those heifers, that are out of realm, bred upright, instead of being bred by a cleanup bull or an open heifer, we're giving her an actual chance of being AI'd. And that's truly the value for us at Shaw Cattle Company is getting those outlier heifers bred up. Maybe they didn't synchronize right, maybe the cedar didn't work right on that heifer. It gives us a chance to give her the opportunity to get bred and have an AI calf for us. With the upcoming of new technology and genomics and all that stuff, it's going to be the driving force of the industry. And efficiencies of all these different technologies just helps us become better ranchers and better stewards of the land.
Visit allflexusa.com to learn more about the new ear tag and the technology behind it.
The recent trade negotiations between the U.S. and international markets, specifically China, are a hot topic in the news. It feels like whiplash. The U.S. ups tariff prices and expands tariffs to more goods, and so does China. But how do tariffs really work? Initially designed to protect domestic businesses, tariffs generate revenue for the government. They're basically a tax on imports. For example, Canada recently put a 10% tariff on prepared beef meals, which impacts $170 million worth of U.S. beef products. That price hike took effect July 1st. China also recently increased its tariffs on fresh or chilled U.S. beef carcasses from 20% to 45% as of July 6th. Similarly, frozen beef carcasses now face a 50% tariff in the Chinese market. That's up from 25%. The tariffs mean Chinese and Canadians will pay more for U.S. beef, which makes the commodity less competitive. But many farmers and ranchers are still optimistic, and USDA's $12 billion trade retaliation relief package was welcomed by many people in the ag industry. Still, groups like the National Cattlemen's Beef Association are pushing for trade agreements to establish a long-term solution for the challenges U.S. beef producers face.
Matt Barton founded Embryonic in 2014 to help ranchers maximize their recipient herd potential. Barton explains how embryo biopsy technology helps seed stock producers save time and money.
producers will just produce as many embryos as they can and transfer all those embryos and just hope for the best. But a certain segment of those embryos are just market-grade animals that, will get sold at an auction or for meat or whatever. So by using the recips that we have, which is usually the most, the most limiting factor in an embryo transfer situation is the recipient animal and the number of them, the quality recips. So by making better use of the ones we have, it saves us incredible amounts of, again, time and money, and that's what it's about.
Embryonic allows producers to make more informed decisions earlier on, which speeds up genetic improvement.
The ability to make these decisions at -9 months, it offers wonderful value to a producer because of the decisions they can make. In a production system, you have a nice bell-shaped curve. You have animals that you don't really want, animals that are, almost elite, and then a nice group in the middle. And with embryo biopsy incorporated into your production system, you can remove, in essence, the left-hand side of that curve or everything that's going to kind of drag you down or hold you back. And so, specific to a trait like $B, we can increase the average gain in that trait within a herd much quicker by only moving on with offspring or embryos that we know we want and not transferring embryos that we don't want. Marketing-wise, there's a lot of different ways you can market it, from selling a pregnant recip with an embryo that has got an extremely high genetic value, and just within a producer's own marketing system of trying to predict what offspring they'll have for their next bull or female sale, they'd have a far better idea knowing the genomics of those embryos before, instead of waiting for 9 months for those calves to hit the ground.
Barton says embryo biopsy technology is the way of the future.
The ability to discern the genetics of an embryo before we transfer it, the cost savings, the increases in genetic gain, these all have wonderful merit within the beef industry, and these are things that we've got to start doing to compete in a broader protein market. We can't just keep doing it the way we've done it, and so that's exciting to me to be, again, on the ground floor of something that I think could have some real merit in the beef industries.
Visit embryonic.com to learn more.
Wildfires are sweeping across many states in the West, leveling towns and devastating the agriculture industry. President Donald Trump recently issued a state of emergency in Shasta County, California for the Carr Fire, the 6th largest in the state's history. The smoke from the Carr Fire can be seen on satellite blanketing much of the state. The fire has claimed several lives so far and destroyed more than 100,000 acres and 1,000 homes, with hundreds more still at risk. California spent a record $758 million fighting fires last year, and this year spent $114 million in July alone. California Governor Jerry Brown issued a state of emergency for the Pawnee Fire in Lake County due to its ferocious speed. Wildfires and hurricanes devastated many producers in 2017, leading to the USDA's Monetary Assistance Program, 2017 Wildfires and Hurricanes Indemnity Program, or WIP. 2017 WIP has almost $2 billion available for relief. The program sign-up began July 16th and closes November 16th. Our thoughts are with the people who are affected by disasters that rage across the West Coast. Contact your local USDA service center or visit farmers.gov/recover/WIP to see if you qualify.
New surveys from Superior Livestock Auctions and Zoetis revealed that feeder calves enrolled in Value-Added Calf Programs, or VAC programs, earned a higher premium on the auction block. VAC programs often require producers to precondition calves, which includes dehorning, weaning, vaccinating, and castration. Each VAC program is unique, but typically calves will go through a round of vaccinations and are weaned at 30 to 45 days. Glenn Rogers, a retired practicing veterinarian and university researcher, helped with the surveys. He said the surveys found VAC 45 calves earn the highest premiums, but the lower cost VAC 34 programs, which require 2 rounds of vaccines, often provide the best return on investment for sellers. Rogers said genetics play a role in preconditioning, but other factors like dietary supplementation can greatly improve a calf's value at weaning time. Diet supplements like yeast-based probiotics and prebiotics and essential fatty acids can aid in rumen health, immunity, and performance. The study shows that preconditioned calves typically earn higher premiums, but add more to production costs. Other studies show that calves that are sent to a feedlot with weaning time less than 30 days are 30% more likely to develop bovine respiratory disease. Although preconditioning might increase costs, the practice is valuable to many feed yards and might be worth the investment. Contact your local extension agent for more information about preconditioning. We'll be back with the Angus Report right after this.
Welcome back to the Angus Report. There is still time to register for the 2018 Angus Convention.
And the National FFA organization is bringing innovation to the classroom. Rachel Robinson has more.
This year, Angus Convention celebrates the 135th Annual Convention of Delegates and the 40th anniversary of the Certified Angus Beef brand. The jam-packed event is full of networking and educational opportunities for convention attendees. Angus University is back again this year with incredible speakers, including a Green Beret commander and the head of JBS Corporate Affairs. You don't want to miss these outstanding speakers. Visit angusconvention.com to register and to learn more. The National FFA organization and Microsoft announced a new initiative to bring technology into classrooms. Microsoft will launch Blue 365 at the 91st National FFA Convention in Indianapolis in October. The program will reach more than 650,000 FFA members and agriculture students across the country. Visit FFA.org for more information. The American Angus Association's new store, the Angus brand, is up and running. Every dollar from the online store directly benefits the Angus Foundation. From vintage tees, outerwear, and home goods to hats, hoodies, and more, the Angus brand is your one-stop shop for everything Angus. To help the Angus Foundation and find your new favorite tea, visit shop.angus.org to order your Angus gear.
We check in now on the latest cattle market news with our market update, brought to you by Cattle Facts.
Hello, I'm Troy Bockelman with the Cattle Facts Update. Recent media attention has focused on larger quantities of red meat and poultry in U.S. freezers. This is an indicator to watch as the trade war battles are waged, but the most recent USDA cold storage report points to a trend that has been months and even years in the making. Total red meat and poultry in cold storage was 2.52 billion pounds in June. This was down 1.6% from the record large cold storage volume in May. Even with larger volumes in cold storage, the year-over-year increase is 5.4% in June. This is the smallest year-over-year increase in 2018. All three major proteins are in an expansion phase. With record or near record high production, cold storage levels are going to increase as the market balances supply and demand. Along with increased production, U.S. protein exports are also growing. Stronger exports lead to additional cold storage, as forward sold product is often frozen before overseas transit. Beef and pork in cold storage declined in June, while poultry seasonally increased. Beef in cold storage was 449 million pounds, down 3.5% from May and 8% higher than a year ago. Approximately 90% of beef in cold storage is boneless, and beef imports and non-fed beef production are 1.5% and 8% above year-ago levels, respectively. Those quantity increases will support cold storage inventories. Pork in cold storage was 560 million pounds, down 10.2% from May and steady with a year ago. After tighter pork belly supplies last year, volumes recovered and pork bellies in cold storage increased 130% to 51 million pounds. Cold storage inventories for other pork cuts are seeing more modest changes relative to last year, but pork trim has grown 38% to 45 million pounds. Total poultry in cold storage is at 1.45 billion pounds. This accounts for the majority of red meat and poultry in U.S. freezers, but the year-over-year gains have tightened in June to the smallest increases this year, at 5.9% above a year ago, while seasonally increasing 2.8% since May. For the Angus Report and Cattle Facts, I'm Troy Bockelman.
To learn more about Cattle Facts, your leading source for beef industry market information, visit cattlefacts.com.
Next on the Angus Report, a look at the new Angus Source programs with Angus Source Director Johnette Gottswild.
And highlights from this year's LEAD conference. We'll be right back. Last week, Angus Source Director Jeanette Gottsweiler walked us through the new Angus Source programs. This week, Clint sat down with her for a more in-depth look at the programs.
So tell us a little bit about what's happening with Angus Source.
Well, Angus Source was recently retooled, as you well know. We took the genetic component out of it. We're doing agent source verification. We added on some new verifications as well, one of those being NHTC, non-hormone treated cattle program, as well as a verified natural, or NE3, which is never ever 3. Then we have a cattle care and handling verification, and last but not least would be calf management, which is kind of a health program for those vaccines as preventative vaccines for those feeder calves.
So tell us a little bit about Angus Source and how it works in the fast-paced sale barn or on video sales as well.
Well, you know, Angus Source Agent Source program is going to work in the sale barn or the video sale very well as the cattle care and handling and calf management. However, if you've enrolled in NHTC or the Verified Natural or Never Ever 3, that sale barn also needs to be approved for that verification as well. Otherwise, those calves would lose that verification, and we sure don't want to go to that expense and not have that go through. So that's why those producers mainly would sell on those videos or at a sale barn that has those verifications in place.
Right. So I'm a buyer and I'm in a sale barn and I'm looking to purchase some Angus Source calves. How do I identify that they are in fact Angus Source calves?
Well, we would sure hope that the person that's selling those are going to indicate that those calves are Angus Source. We have a marketing document that goes along with those. So they would have a lot code on those. It's also on each RFID tag. So more than likely anyone selling those calves in the value-added programs are going to let those buyers know. In addition, we actually have an email list of over 800 potential buyers that it goes out weekly, letting them know when and where those calves are selling. And so they can click on that verification certificate within that and learn more about those cattle.
Right, so that marketing document is a major piece that separates Angus Source, you would say, correct?
I say it's actually the backbone of the program, Clint, because more than likely it's going to give all the needed information to that buyer so that he can make a very calculated buying decision a lot faster than he would have before as they just ran in the ring.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the frequently asked questions that producers might have with Angus Source?
Sure. One of the things that we have producers calling in, they feel that they need to call in and just schedule an audit in order to enroll in the NHTC and Never Ever 3 programs. And you know, it's a little bit better if we go on and collect that information and data up front and get that prior to the contract auditor or regional manager coming on site, because it's not only going to save you some time and trouble, but if by instance you wouldn't qualify for that program, you know, there's sure no need to incur those travel costs. So, you know, we try very hard to do the legwork up front. We have 3 very capable young ladies in the department who can give you a very good indication if you're going to qualify for those programs. So I sure encourage producers to call them, chat a little bit about their program, and learn if it's something that will be a fit for them.
Can you give us a little bit of a breakdown of what you've seen this summer with Angus Source calves?
You bet. Value-added program calves are selling very, very well. Angus Source calves at the Northern Video Sale for their summer sale were very, very hot and popular. Just left the Winnemucca sale that Superior sponsored. Again, it was a very big hotbed of value-added program cattle selling well. So pick up the phone, call us today. We'll be more than glad to let you know if it's a program that's going to work for you.
Well, it's a pleasure having Jeanette Gottsweiler, Director of Angus Source, down in the studio with us, and we look forward to hearing more from American Angus Association commercial programs, including Angus Source. The Leaders Engaged in Angus Development, or LEAD Conference, was held in Billings, Montana this month. Angus juniors from across the country and Canada traveled to tour various agriculture companies and connect with other juniors.
We are in Billings, Montana with the 2018 lead conference. We do a lead conference every year. It's called Leaders Engaged in Angus Development. So this is cow country, and these kids are grown up on ranches and farms, and so I think it was great to bring them here to see what Montana agriculture looks like.
Traveling around and seeing all these other producers, not just here at Origin, but also traveling to Midland and getting to see Mr. Leo McDonald over there, someone that I've known my whole life, and also the same case when we went over to the auction yards there in Billings earlier today, getting to see Joe Goggins, a good family friends of ours. And then later today, going to Vermilion, it's a very familiar feeling for me, and I think that's pretty unique to someone who comes from Montana and is as involved in this industry as I've been.
I'm Macy Liebrick. I'm from Radville, Saskatchewan. Canada actually sends 2 delegates to lead every year, so we got to come down here on a little road trip since I live 7.5 hours north of here, and I thought it'd be really interesting since your guys' setup is so different, and since we model everything after you guys, I wanted to see how yours has advanced so much farther than ours so far.
The events we do are so cool compared to like nationals. You see one location and that place is always beautiful and there's lots to do. But here you explore so much in certain areas and look at like the high quality Angus ranches around here, like we're at Vermilion now, and it's just amazing.
Being a leadership director, getting to plan this kind of an event where you get to see kids become friends, learn more, and go to different places is incredible, and so I just love it, and it's definitely in my heart.
I myself have taken part in quite a few leadership development conferences and camps in my life, so I was a little concerned that it was going to be more of the same stuff, but I can tell you that it is very different. It's unique to itself. It's unique to the Angus breed. It's just one of those things that it's promoted so heavily for a reason, and it's not something you can truly understand until you take part of it.
I would definitely say come to lead because it's just such an enlightening experience meeting all these different people. You get so many different perspectives. Everyone's very proud about where they're from, and all your states are so well represented here, which is something we struggle to get in Canada. So it would be really interesting to kind of get that level of inclusiveness throughout the entire country.
You know, Bob, the future of the association is in the right hands.
It sure is. And you know, the future is bright for all the kids who attended the LEAD conference. It was a great thing to see. That's all for this week's Angus Report. We'll return next week at this time for more cattle news and highlights.
In the meantime, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Angus TV, for more from the association. Thanks for joining us.